Wow, everybody, I can't actually believe we're here, that we pulled this event off. You're here for Creating Green Buildings, a live conversation, and we've got some pre recorded stuff too with the city of Boston. We've got some great representatives from the city here, builders and brokers, really putting all three of these players together. We literally started to plan this a couple of weeks ago. We poured a foundation for this for this thing. We put up some framing, we put on some siding and a roof, and hopefully it doesn't all collapse today. We have no idea what we're doing, so stay on tune for the whole hour because you may see complete disaster here. We don't know, but fortunately we've got Sergio running the whole thing to keep us sound through this whole thing. I want to definitely thank a bunch of people that have been working to put a bunch of organizations that have put this together. First of all, to my local board, the Greater Boston Association of Realtors, thank you so much. Under Jim Major's leadership last year, they started a sustainability task force, which has, I think, really is benefiting GBAR, its members, and its affiliates, and that's still going strong under Jason Gell's leadership this year as well. So thank you for starting those initiatives and for hosting this project. But not only is GBAR hosting this project, but we also have, for the National Association of Realtors, we have a green designation page for our green designated agents that's a private group page, very, very active. And this is being live streamed there as well. And for my company, Lear Realty Partners, we have a separate platform that has about 1,500 agents called ROAR, which stands for Real Online Agent Resources, and they're live streaming this. But not only that, what's really cool about this event is that it's not only realtors that are involved here, right? Mass Clean Energy Center, Northeast Energy Efficiency Partnership, Built Environment Plus, NESE, which stands for Northeast Sustainable Energy Association, are all promoting this event as well. And of course, we've got the city of Boston here. So it's pretty cool to see this mix of people come together and talk about the value of green buildings and what it means for the city of Boston. With that, we're going to jump to a pre-recorded video that Chris Cook, the Chief of Environment for the City of Boston, sent us a video on the city's climate action goals and how projects like this at 52 Fisher Ave here in Mission Hill are critical for the city to meet those goals. So, Sergio, if you want to take us over to Chief Cook's.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Cook. I'm the Chief of Environment, Energy, and Open Space for the City of Boston. Climate change presents a unique challenge to the health, safety, and well-being of Bostonians now and in the future. That's why the Walsh administration has committed the City of Boston to being carbon neutral by 2050, and that's why it's so important that we act right now. I want to thank Zeina of Z Capital Investments, her project team, Craig Foley of Lear Realty, and the National Association of Realtors for putting this tour together to show everyone what's possible in a carbon-neutral building by showcasing their new project on Fisher Ave and Wensley Street in Mission Hill. Thank you for helping us move this city forward. You know, in a city of science and progress like ours, climate action is not only a responsibility, but it's also a huge opportunity. We can create good jobs right now in our neighborhoods by building efficient buildings and renewable energy systems. We can build green homes that are healthier for families to live in while saving money and resources at the same time. Together, we can develop technologies and practices to build energy-efficient homes of tomorrow right here today. The new development on Fisher Ave and Wensley Street embodies all the values of carbon neutrality and more. The project developer is Z Capital Investments, a minority and women-owned development firm based here in Boston. There's also a local design team and contractors emphasizing green building technology and a diverse work crew trained in green building practices. These new homes are beautiful inside and outside, and they employ numerous energy-efficient strategies, including airtight and well-insulated windows and walls, electric air source heat pumps for heating, cooling, and hot water, and rooftop solar panels to provide renewable energy. The city has set out an ambitious climate action and carbon neutrality goal. to achieve the heating, cooling, and hot water, raise the awareness of Boston's builders, brokers, and buyers of the value of opportunities that developments like these ones have to offer. Together, we can do it. I want to thank the development team, but I also want to thank the numerous city departments that were involved in this, including the Department of Neighborhood Development, the Boston Planning and Development Agency, and of course, the Environment Department. Thank you all and enjoy the tour.
Passive house and then the solar PV. Good. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So it's my sincere honor to introduce a couple key players to this: the developer Zeina, Talje, and the GC on this project, Manny from MCR Construction. Really, really exciting project to see this happening. And, you know, Zeina, I'll be honest with you, right? Developers aren't always met with the best reaction from the public. But I have to say that knowing you and your engagement on this project, the public would be completely blown away with your process for doing this and your engagement with the city. It's been really incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of your philosophy for this project and where it's going?
Sure. Thanks so much for coming here and visiting with us at 52 Fisher Ave. It's been an incredible journey finding this opportunity to bring beautiful condos to the city of Boston. But from the get-go, Z Capital and my team had a bigger intention. And you just heard from Chief Cook talk about our goal as a collective society and as Bostonians to hit the 2050 carbon neutrality goal. And with that in mind, really it was a question of making sure we had the best local consultants, architects, designers, engineers to design this building, not only to deliver quality condos, but also to meet that high performance standard. And this wouldn't be possible without a ton of work that the City of Boston and D&D have done up front. There's a number of test pilot projects that John Dalzell might talk about a bit later from the BPDA around E-plus buildings. And my team in particular, Travis Anderson with Place Taylor, is a veteran of the Passive House building typo, and he played a key role in guiding us through the journey. But perhaps most critical for this entire process is to have a builder like Manny, who's standing right here next to me, because Manny not only brings with him decades of experience, he brings a commitment to make sure that the project is built to the highest standard, and he really takes special care and attention to every building detail. And to just share with you a little bit, we approach buildings as a science, and we use comprehensive energy modeling that the Passive House Institute has developed in order to ensure that every component of the building is modeled. And we really strongly believe that we can reduce our energy use but not compromise comfort. And that's been a result of a commitment and a ton of research that's happened in our city here in Boston.
Excellent. And Manny, she's not just saying that on video. Every time she talks to me about your work, she thinks you are the best. And believe me, I know she can be a tough boss. So, you know, that's pretty high influential stuff. Do you have anything to add to what's going on here in terms of building this project?
Yes, you know what? I think all my projects that we take on, we take it with with the highest quality. We try to give them, the owners and developers, the highest quality possible. And we got employees that they've been working with us for 23 years, 18. So we got a good crew. And that makes it possible. You know, of course, being the boss, we demand the best out of them, and thank God it works. You know, and we appreciate the work that they do for us, every single employee, and so they're very dedicated to the work that they do every day. But of course, it helps out having somebody like Zeina as a boss that really cares about the buildings and is appreciative of our effort that we put in every day. And let us know, so that makes us even, you know, we don't need our egos wrapped up every moment, but of course, it goes a long way when somebody says, hey man, you're doing a great job, so, you know, just to every developer, But we try to give Zeina the best quality that we can in this project, and we know this is her baby, so we have to treat it as is.
Well, I mean, there's no question that building a high-performance building, building significantly above code, is a different challenge, right? And you've got a crew that's getting it done, which is, it's cool to see. Just in terms of the Boston movement towards green buildings, if we don't have crews that can pull this stuff off, it's shot.
That is true, and I think that goes back to like us working with the D&D we worked for D&D for like 10 years doing developments for them, and we had some good people teaching us the right way how to do the envelopes and how to obtain high-rated buildings, and the blow a door test and stuff. So now when Zeina approached us with this design, pretty much they already had everything in drawings, and so the only thing we did is just follow step by step the instructions that they have for us.
And but you gotta execute.
Of course, and like I said, it helps out having the employees that I have for that long, because they listen to you. If you hire a crew out of the blue, I don't think you're gonna get the quality that or the commitment, because these guys really watch out for their livelihood, and our work is our livelihood. It's what puts in our table, So, and I think that works a great way.
Well, thanks for your work, Manny. Definitely. I'm going to bring on the next guest from the city of Boston. This is John Dalzell. John works as senior project manager for BPDA, Boston Planning and Development Authority. For those of you at NAR, you may remember that in 2018, when NAR's annual convention was here, I got a call from staff at NAR at the beginning of the summer saying, hey, Craig, in November, could we put together a green building tour? And I was like, sure, absolutely we can, not having any idea how we're going to do it, kind of like today, right? And so the first person I called was John Dalzell, because he knows every green building in the city. And not only did John help set that up, but he became the tour guide for it in November when we was out here. He did a phenomenal job. We were supposed to only have one bus, but that was such a popular event, we ended up doing 2 buses, and you did a phenomenal job. And I know you're deeply committed to green building, as an architect and working for the city. Tell me a little bit about your background, why you've devoted your life to this, and I guess why is that, John?
Sure. Well, Craig, let me first say, as an architect with the city, it's been really a great opportunity to advance the city's green building practices. And I really have to acknowledge the mayor, because we obviously work for an administration, but we've been able to do so much under the leadership of Mayor Walsh and his commitment to sustainability, to reducing the causes of climate change and reducing the impacts that climate change will have on the city, on our communities, on our citizens, has been really critical to advancing the city. And we are absolutely looking at how to continue to advance projects, how to make the city more resilient, how to make the city more healthy too. What can we do to make sure that homes like these are the example that everyone follows, because they deliver so many environmental benefits, economic benefits, but also health benefits. I was thinking about this, and I suddenly realized there's a great Chinese proverb around if you want to go far, go together. And if you want to go fast, go alone. We're now in a moment where we need to go quite far and do so very quickly. And I think through working together, working in partnership with the Greater Boston Association of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors, we've been able to do so much and really have begun to change the way everything is being built. But I also want to shout out to Zeina and yourselves as individual leaders who are rapidly bringing change to practices and expanding the awareness to the realtors and brokers who are helping people find homes and helping builders sell homes is absolutely critical. But also having builders and developers come forth and say, you know what, I care, but I can do well too. And I understand the product, and I'm going to bring my ingenuity and my smarts to delivering a much better building product on budget, on time, on cost, and moving us forward. And so we are quite fortunate.
Doing all that in the midst of this crazy pandemic too, which is a whole other level of risk involved, and she's still pulling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh my goodness, it's been so hard the last few months. But I think in a different way, the pandemic has attuned us to our globalness, if you will. We're all in this together. And unlike any other time in our history, across oceans and around the world, there's a clear understanding that we need to work together. I think as we move out of the particulars of the pandemic, I hope that we will operate in a place where we do see collective action having the opportunity to prevent the worst of climate change's impacts. And again, we're back to this. We've created, this is 2005, I think we started the C+ program. I think the first buildings came on a couple of years later, and here we are looking at instances where private developers have learned of these practices, have seen how they played out in the marketplace, how buyers have loved them, and that they're doable. And now, without us, and Zeina is a fabulous leader, so my happy day will be when everyone knocks on the door and says, how do we do better?
Yeah.
Today, we're truly fortunate to have both of you championing this work and proving that everyone can do this. So that's our role here. My good fortune is working for Mayor Walsh, being able to advance these practices at the Boston Planning and Development Agency and to see these practices scaled up. So we learn a lot from new buildings at 6 units, but we can bring all these practices to 6-story buildings and, in fact, 60-story buildings.
Yeah.
And we can bring these projects from neighborhoods like Mission Hill to downtown high-rises and single families out in Hyde Park. So the lessons are valuable, but they're also replicable and they're also portable. So thank you both. This is fantastic.
Well, thank you, John. So what was the proverb again?
The proverb is, if you want to go far, go together.
Go together. I love
that. If
that.
you want to go fast,
Yeah.
go alone.
And we've got realtors, the city of Boston, and builders all working together, and renewable energy people all working together to get this right. I love that. Next, John Feuerbach from the Department of Neighborhood Development. Your department, I know, has been critical for this project, and you're dealing with one of the critical issues that is a big topic right now at National Association of Realtors and certainly at Greater Boston Association of Realtors, which is affordability in the housing market. Very, very tough to achieve, right? No question about it. We don't have affordable units for this, but what I'm excited about is Zeina is producing something that I think we can put on for prices that are very reasonable for buyers in Boston. That's a big change from doing the E+ program, where there's an incentive for a builder to doing it, to actually transitioning to where the market can get this done. I don't know, where does D&D stand in terms of all of this stuff? Your work with the city, John?
The Department of Neighborhood Development is the city's neighborhood development agency, and we intervene to provide affordable housing all across the city, and we administer federal funds and city funds, and we just don't don't make funds available without any consideration of what is the mission, what's the need. And one of the key things that we do in our work is we have guidelines that are related to design. And over the years, in the last 15 years, we've progressively promoted green building, energy efficiency. We're promoting...
And where does energy efficiency fit into the space of affordability?
Well, on a couple of levels. One, from a renter's perspective or a home buyer's.
Yeah.
It's folks who are going to be living there will be able to manage their costs a lot easier. I think just from healthy living, asthma-free conditions, I think the energy efficiency in the green building helps from that perspective as well.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we're able to do is provide guidelines and requirements. So we have a design guideline template that gets at green building and energy efficient measures that any developer who's looking to work with the city to provide affordable housing would have to understand and abide by. And it's from the earliest stage of project concept. We promote integrated design with all the professional teams working together to maximize the energy efficiency, all the way through to a project like this where there's monitoring of construction and so on.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we're done is reducing carbon in response to climate change is really very important. And John Dalzell mentioned the mayor's 2050 carbon-free plan. D&D in the last year has worked with a couple of consultants, and we've established a combination report and guidebook to get buildings that are sort of fit our model that are within D&D's portfolio to promote a carbon-free building.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've learned from the report is that by not making so many changes, we can achieve a carbon neutral building environment in the future.
I mean, it's not even in the future, it's now. We're doing it, we're getting it done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, this one too, from lower operating costs, they're going to hear a video in a little bit from our solar PV provider. And with the Massachusetts state incentive, the new SMART program, the building owners are not only going to have no energy costs, she says that they're going to be paid to live here. I mean, talk about an affordability boost, right?
Yep.
For just operating costs, which is a huge part of something in the real estate industry we don't pay too much attention to. We look at principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, but this is critical.
Working with the BPGA and other community partners, we've been promoting energy positive developments.
Yes.
And as you know, you're creating more energy than the residents can afford. So that's a fabulous benefit. I mean, this particular project is interesting because it was done as part of a neighborhood planning initiative, the Mission Hill Planning Initiative. Right. We work with Mission Hill NHS, Back of the Hill CDC, and this is one site of 4 just around the corner on Terrace Street. We have affordable artist housing. Just as the bird flies up the road on Gore Street, we have a community garden. On Parker Street, just within part of this initiative, Habitat is planning to start a 2-unit development that would be affordable. So it's like a nice comprehensive plan, and I really credit Zeina for taking on a very difficult site. It was, I mean, it's like,
it's a challenging site.
It just needed a rope tow, right? In the winter, you get a nice little community ski area. But it's been really nice with what they've done.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the city. It's so great to have the city here showing support for this project, and how the work that Zeina is doing is fitting into that 2050 climate neutral plan for the city of Boston, which we've got to have happen, and it can't be fast enough, so we've got to work all together.
One thing, and John mentioned 2050 plan, we couldn't do it without the BPGA, D&D, Energy Environment, Public Health Commission. We're all working together to meet and to address the mayor's goal. It's really quite fascinating in that regard, and it's fulfilling to work with so many partners to achieve that same goal.
Well, thank you for your work, gentlemen. I know you both have to shoot off to meetings, so I'm going to let you go, and we're going to go to some other streams of video. So thanks again, guys. So, the next pieces that we're going to see are Zeina walking through the building, talking about the high performance features, kind of the construction tour of this. Then we did a really cool Zoom meeting with the Passive House Institute in Germany. So this is international, this piece, and I think they're actually picking up the Facebook feed on this. But all the way over in Germany, the certification process that we're going through with them, very rigorous. They got on the phone with us, and then we're going to finish it off with the meeting with the solar PV provider, IPS, which is also live streaming this as well. And their representative, Hannah Capshaw, who has some great information about the benefits of PV combined with this super efficient building envelope. So take it away, sir.
Hi, I'm Zeina Talje with Z Capital, the developer for 52 Fisher Ave in Mission Hill. And
tell us a little bit about what's going on here with the building wrap, the skin around here.
Our biggest goal with Passive House design and energy efficiency is to keep all the outside wind, air, moisture outside the building. The main line of defense from getting any water or wind coming into the building is this weather-resistant cedar barrier. And if we get anything that comes behind the siding, then obviously that acts as a rain screen.
Yeah. So, Zeina, we're up here on the inside of the building now, and one of the things that stands out almost immediately is the thickness of the walls here. You can see
these great windows, really high performance windows, which maybe we can talk about as well. But you can see this is almost a seating area almost. You know, it's so thick. Why are the walls so thick here? What's the advantage?
This wall is thick for a reason because it needs to factor in these severe changes in temperature that we have in the climate, like ours here in the Northeast. And what this wall does really works in two ways. The first way, we saw how it works on the outside with the weather-resistant barrier, the blue material that you saw, keeping all the wind and outside elements out. But then as you move into the building, there's another stud wall, and that really is what connects all the interior and creates, frankly, a very clear definition between the outside wall running all the way from top to the bottom and not touching any of the inside wall, as well as provides this cavity, almost 12 inches, that we would be filling in with cellulose. This cellulose not only will act as an insulation material that will help maintain the indoor temperature at the set temperature of 69 or 70 so that it's comfortable, but will also allow for air and moisture to not accumulate in the cavity and for it to disperse. What's amazing about a passive house building, there's an energy model that verifies all of our assumptions. It really is about building science without compromising any of the beautiful design or comfort. The windows, as I mentioned earlier, are one of the biggest thermal bridges in the building. And thermal bridges are what cause buildings to leak or lose that stability in the temperature. So the windows, we do have to pay close attention and pick a window that's right for the climate and building orientation. And it's a compromise. You're always going to get some energy loss or gain through the windows because when the sun hits, you're getting much needed energy gain in the winter. But when the sun hits in the summer, that's energy you really do not want inside the building. So
tell us a little bit about what's going on up here. Now, this is the heating and the cooling plant for the home.
Our cooling and heating load is so diminished after designing to the Passive House Institute standard that we had to find the smallest unit on the market, and Mitsubishi makes them. We took that and we ducted it. And this is really remarkable because this building, once you invest in the walls and the infrastructure and you insulate really well and you keep air from seeping into the building and you keep air from leaking outside the building, you end up sizing your mechanical system at a much reduced size to meet the needs of comfort for heating and cooling. I think one thing that's important component to this passive house design is an ERV, energy recovery ventilation. These are the highest standard for filters. They're really hospital-grade filters, and you'll see that they filter 99.9% of all particles. It's a very fine mesh. And this ERV is what creates that really fresh interior air environment. A building that doesn't leak needs air pumped constantly through a mechanical system like this ERV in order to keep the quality of the air high. It's amazing. It's really exciting because the air coming in and the air going out don't touch, but the heat is transferred. That's why it's an energy recovery ventilation. It's not just a ventilation system, which goes in line with the philosophy of use less, consume less, invest in the infrastructure so that you can have these significant reductions in carbon emissions. So it's already doing so much more, and we can do it with off-the-shelf components. There's certainly an investment and a commitment from the builder and the team to make this to a standard that's much higher. But it really is important to keep in mind that when we use less, we just preserve what we have for generations to come.
Hi, my name's Craig Foley. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer for Lair Realty Partners.
I'm Roberto Iannetti. I'm an associate researcher at Passive House Institute here in Darmstadt. I'm an architect, and I'm happy to be here at this conversation.
Hello, my name is Corinna Geiger. I'm working here at the Passive House Institute, and as a building certifier, I'm head of building certification department, and I'm happy to be part of this meeting today too.
Hi, I'm Zeina Talje, founder of Z Capital Investments, a development shop focused on high-performance buildings here in Boston.
I'd like to learn a little bit more about
your framework at Passive House Institute and how you've helped through that framework guide Zeina through the product that she's building.
The Passive House standard is not what I like the most is not only related to the energy demand, but is a summary of really, really good points, I can say, like the energy saving, the indoor comfort, the cost-efficient ratio between investment and results. To get all these 3 points together, we need to work. I mean, it's not enough install solar panel on the roof to get a high efficiency. A very good envelope, very good windows, some HVAC, but really limited HVAC systems inside the building, because at the end the building doesn't need anymore a big HVAC. You can supply this energy demand with small sources. Then you have an indoor, really, really high indoor comfort. I mean, we cannot get a price with this point, this factor, because you cannot pay for a comfort. You can only feel the comfort. But when you have everything, every surface inside your building that has a temperature higher than 17 degrees, when outside it's -10, that means that the comfort is achieved. I mean, it's fully achieved. And the third point is the cost-efficient aspect. So every investment and every choice is set on an economic base. So of course we can spend thousands and billions of dollars to build one single family home and get it perfect, but it's not possible. It's not feasible. Spend so much money to get one single family home.
In your project, it's really good that you decided to have to do a certification. Because now my colleague Roberto is checking the data, and he's having the chance to review things that might not got lost, but maybe no one was paying attention because everything is super time. So there's not so much time in the construction business anyway. So there's this third person having a look on all of your documents and tells you, hey, look, there's something. If you change this component, you can achieve so much better energy efficiency in your buildings.
It's a rigorous science. It's not magic. The energy model speaks for itself. When you take care of creating an efficient envelope that does breathe, that deals with humidity and comfort, you will have an environment that's really healthy for future occupants.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to I want to say thank you. It's great to have an international call about Zeina's project in Mission Hill and have your expertise as part of what we're doing. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Creating Green Buildings. This is a live and recorded conversation and construction tour with Boston builders and brokers.
Hi, I am Zeina Talje, founder of Z Capital Investments, a development and investment shop here in Boston.
Hi, I'm Hannah Capshaw, and I'm a solar and storage consultant for Independent Power Systems in Massachusetts.
Zeina, I am so impressed not only with your work and the product that you're producing, which is incredible, but with how intentional you've been with every decision that's been involved with this project. I just think it's super impressive. I'm really interested in your thought process in your decision making about getting to the place where you felt really good about adding PV to the top of 52 Fisher Ave.
When I started this project, really, it was a collective decision to not only think of how we're going to deliver the best product, the best condos that people would love to live in, but also a building that truly cared about the environment and was incredibly mindful about its energy use. And this is sort of where solar became really appealing. In many conversations with Hannah, I kind of did express to her my concern that integrating solar into a base building was not something that these building budgets really have room for. Much to my surprise, we were now using a significantly smaller solar array to generate a significant portion of that energy need.
Hannah, I would love for you to talk. I'm an energy geek. I love solar PV. So a lot of the realtors that are listening to this know that I teach a class called Selling the Sun for Massachusetts Real Estate Licensing Board so they can get continuing ed credits. So there's nothing I'd rather talk about than solar. But I'm wondering if you can just kind of simplify this with this high performance building that's being built and the addition of solar PV. Just give me a quick rundown of what the benefits are going to be for the home buyers that purchase the condos at 52 Fisher.
By choosing the longest lasting and most durable technology available, 52 Fisher is really equipped with, a 40-year useful life solar system and a guaranteed 0.25% degradation. So that's delivering a ton of value to the owners of the units, and it's really the most sought after panel available. From a sustainability perspective, a long life cycle really equates to maximal sustainability, and that really reduces life cycle waste. The panels are also cradle to cradle certified, which means they're fully recyclable at the end of their life.
Not only are they getting the full retail rate back from the Massachusetts utility, which is Eversource, but in addition to that, they're getting paid an adder instead of the old SREC program that comes back on their bills at 10.7 cents per kilowatt. People are going to be paid for living in the building. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
For our Greater Boston Association of Realtor members, love to remind all of you that on July 14th and 15th and July 21st and 22nd, I'll be teaching the National Association of Realtors Green Designation from the safety and comfort of your own home. It's the first time we've tried this at G-Bar, doing kind of a Zoom setup for it. So we've got 4 half-day sessions to get your green designation, and you can learn all about everything that we just talked about and more, because there's a lot going on here in terms of proper valuation of these types of homes and proper marketing for these types of homes, and how we communicate the value proposition to buyers out there. Thank you, Hannah, Zeina. Thank you so much for this. This was a great session today. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Congratulations, Zeina, on such a beautiful and heartful project.
Well, you're going to have to come out, Hannah, and see it.
I definitely will.
Hey everybody, we're back inside 52 Fisher Avenue now. I have a really exciting guest that I'm terribly excited about. But wasn't that cool about the solar PV provider, Hannah, saying that people are going to get paid for living in this building? That is crazy by the utility company. That's just phenomenal. But our next guest, Jose Guillermo Cedeno Laurent, otherwise known as Memo, works for Chan School of Public Health. Now, if you've heard me teach, if you've been in the green designation classes that I teach, you hear me talk about the data that Chan School of Public Health has been releasing over the last 4 or 5 years anyway, and it's really, really compelling data on the health aspects of living in homes and working in buildings that are green certified buildings. One of the really cool studies that you guys did, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, was on office workers working in office spaces that are kind of standard, green office spaces like Energy Star certified spaces, and then Green Plus office spaces, which I took to be LEED certified spaces, proper ventilation coming into the office space, and the cognitive difference in the office workers going from each one of these spaces was unbelievable. Strategic thinking was like 200% higher. Information usage, it was just off the charts. Tell us, Memo, a little bit more about the work that you're doing. I'm fascinated with your work. I love your work. I can't get enough about it. Tell us more about what you do.
Thanks, Craig. Yeah, exactly as you said. I think the research really is built upon decades of investigations of how indoor environments impact not only our health, but also overall well-being. And these last few years, we've been interested in knowing how the indoor air quality really impacts your ability to be productive at work. But that also applies to our homes, right? So what I'm really excited to see
Well, our
here,
work is our homes right now, it seems like.
That's right. That's right. So we are transitioning to this era, I would say, but because I think these are going to be long-lasting changes, where we knew that we spend 90% of our time indoors, but now that vast majority of time will be at our homes, right? So it's really important that we understand how in our offices there's a building manager that cares about ventilation, that cares about our thermal comfort, but at homes maybe that notion is not that applicable, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be on top of that game, and I think these type of exemplary homes, residential environments will lead the way, right, to ever more have these new constructions, renovation, remediation projects that really bring this high performance aspect to homes.
Yeah, and this is something I know Zeina was very intentional about in terms of her work on this project. We're standing in front of the ERV, the Energy Recovery Ventilation System. So this is, you know, really part of the advances that we've seen in building science, certainly over the last 10 years. And this unit is from Zender. They're the leader in ERV systems. And we've got a fresh supply, constantly a fresh air, filtered air coming into this home, stale air coming out, and it improves indoor air quality. You know, indoor air quality is something certainly I've heard about, I'm aware of, IAQ as the acronym for it. What is that? Isn't that something we should all have, as better indoor air quality? Tell me more about what that is, how it's defined, and
right, so
what's good from good to bad to worse. You know?
Yeah, so the idea, and that we have to recognize that air quality by itself, like the contaminants that we regulate across the world, still kills 4 million people every single year. So it's the largest environmental burden in our lives. Luckily, we have implemented laws, we have implemented some regulation, like the Clean Air Act, that has dramatically reduced those contaminants outdoors. Mm-hmm. Yet, we have the problematic indoors. Mm-hmm. Why? Because that outdoor contamination, that outdoor pollution makes it inside, but we also generate pollutants inside, right? Yes. So we have to bring the cleanest, freshest air possible inside. What we have here, the energy recovery ventilation units, or the heat recovery ventilation units, are a great example of a very mature technology, relatively young in the US, mm-hmm. but very well proven in Europe, for example, that allows to bring 100% highly filtered fresh air into our spaces. So that leaves owners the peace of mind that they don't have to actively be looking for that air. So some people would say, you know, natural ventilation would allow you to bring air just by opening the window. But these times of the year where you can actually open a window become shorter and shorter as our climate changes, right? Yes. Yeah. And then we have other factors like pollen, we have other extreme heat events, heat waves, we have forest fires, right? Yeah. Where you cannot open the window. And these units become a layer of protection for the people that live in them.
That's incredible. Now, one other thing I want to ask you about that I know you guys have done a lot of work on as well, and kind of goes back to what the city was talking about earlier. We have a climate problem, you know, let's face it, that's the fact, and greenhouse gas emissions are the issue with that problem. We're standing in a building that's going to be an all-electric building that's going to be, for the most part, powered by the solar PV system, which is energy, photons that come from the sun, right? This is a real solution in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. Talk to me about the co-benefits of building like this in terms of societal and environmental work that I know you guys have done some work on as well.
Right, so our idea has been that these extensive benefits of indoor air quality sometimes couple very well, like is the case in this project, with energy reductions, right? So for a long time we have been looking to tell the public how reducing energy emissions in high performance buildings like these not only comes with benefits for the occupants, but for the society at large. So really what we have been looking at is that these green buildings, by reducing the amount of energy that they need from the grid, a grid that relies on fossil fuels, they reduce emissions on criteria pollutants, they reduce emissions on greenhouse gases, and really at the end of a long analysis that we did on most green certified buildings in 6 different countries, we found that there are benefits to health and to climate for every kilowatt hour that we don't consume in the regular way. So just for example, for the case of the United States, on average, for every dollar saved in energy, about 70 cents were saved in terms of effects because of mortality, premature mortality, or morbidity, health effects in cardiovascular disease or asthma attacks, kids not being able to go to school, and but also climate benefits, right? All those effects that we see from extreme heat, extreme weather events that become very destructive. Just to say a little bit more on the global scale, in the case of India, that is a lot more pollutant in their energy emissions, that ratio became, for every dollar that you save on energy, $12 are saved on health and climate benefits.
Yeah. Just from going to the hospital and emergency room visits and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's incredible data, definitely.
That's right.
Now, the other great thing about you, Memo, is that you not only talk the talk, but you bought one of the E+ properties in JP, right? So you live in one of those buildings. What's the experience like to live in a building like this?
It's been wonderful. It's been the...
Come on, be honest.
I have to be really honest, especially, you know, I think when you have a kid, we decided to move to a bigger place. We live in a 1-bedroom, and when our kid was about to turn 2 years old, we said we need a bigger space. And we were lucky to find this project that was created by the City of Boston, the E+, Energy Plus projects, and it has been delightful to live there, right? So from the energy perspective that you've been talking about, it's incredibly efficient, right? So it has a solar array. We only pay energy 4 months a year, and that is like a relatively minimal amount of energy that we pay. For me, more important is that I know that the air quality that is inside, because I brought a measurement equipment to characterize that indoor air quality, it's superior to other places. If you benchmark them, thermal stability is better, the humidity control that in most places is non-existent is very flat, very consistent, very important now for infectious disease transmission. So humidity is a deterministic factor for virus viability, host susceptibility, and other factors.
Because it hangs in the air longer with greater humidity.
And because our epithelium in the upper respiratory tract, as it's dry, cracks, and makes us more susceptible to get infected.
Interesting. Yeah. So I've seen this at builder shows of late. You know, real-time indoor air quality sensors. I've got another project in Weston right now where the developers put those in so we can register in real time volatile organic compounds, humidity levels, CO2 levels, which we know improves sleep even at night. This has been great. Thank you so much. I've just got to cap this off for GBAR with one special offer. So I'm teaching the green designation for Greater Boston Association of Realtors. We're going to do this virtually for the first time, July 14th, 15th, 21st, and 22nd, half day each session. And GBAR is offering a special $15 off if you email GBAR Education, GBAR Education at gbreb.com, greb.com, gbareducation@greb.com. If you email them, you can't go to the website and register on the website because there's not a discount on the website. But if you email that email by noon tomorrow and you take the green designation class, you're going to get $15 off. With that, I'm going to say thank you to everybody. Zeina, the crew here, Tess, Sergio, Kiki, Memo, all of the people that were here. Thank you so much for this event. I'm so excited we pulled this off. See ya.